everyone, it's Sharana from payorwait, and today I'm going to be reviewing and recapping the Penguin Season 1, Episode 2, Inside Man. And y'all, you know what's crazy? I'm actually digging this show. When they first announced the Penguin series, I was kind of just like, I don't know, y'all. It's kind of giving me cash grab right here. It's like, do we have any value to add to this franchise by having this series? I always love Colin Farrell's portrayal as Oz. He's unrecognizable. I thought he did a fantastic job. But I was just like, do we honestly need a series about the Penguin? But you know, I have to say, I'm sorry for doubting the series. I'm actually digging this. I'm really into how they're taking this character Oz. You know, we're seeing him before he becomes this formidable villain. And we're seeing him kind of as this guy that's kind of low on the totem pole. You know, he's someone that everyone seems to underestimate at every step of the way. His own mother underestimates him. You know, those that he's worked for underestimate him. And so it's nice kind of watching this origin story unfold, you know, as we see someone who decides that he wants to be the boss. He no longer wants to work for other people. He no longer wants people, he wants people to take him serious, right? And so it's nice to see how he goes on this journey. And what's more interesting, especially about this week's episode, is we get to see Oz and Sofia kind of make this bond. They're both underestimated at every step of the way. Their families don't believe in them. The people around them don't believe in them. They don't take them serious. And so I kind of like how, you know, we have this alliance that's kind of formed at the end of the episode where they decide, you know what, I'm tired of people passing us by, not giving us, you know, credit to where credit is due, not seeing our value, our worth. Why do I feel like this is a metaphor for me to quit corporate America? Was this like a therapy session? I didn't realize it was a therapy session until I'm sitting here breaking down the episode. I kind of feel like this is a sign I need to quit my job. I'm just saying, okay, be my own boss. But you know, these bills, still gonna be billing, okay? So I guess I still gotta clock in tomorrow. But I like that, you know, we have these two characters who, you know, come from two opposite ends of the totem pole. You know, Sophia's had this family, you know, who's, you know, her father created this like massive empire where they have all this money. And then we see Oz, you know, who kind of had to claw his way to the top and still is trying to make it to the top. And so it's interesting to see these two characters that kind of come from two different spectrums, but they're still fighting for the same thing, fighting to be seen, fighting to be heard, fighting for their respect, and also fighting to be the boss. And so I really love watching this dynamic kind of grow throughout the course of the episode. And so I'm gonna start with Sofia, who Kristen is absolutely phenomenal portraying Sofia. I am very impressed with her portrayal. I think that Sofia is this character that no one takes serious. You know, they say, oh, she's spiraling out of control, but she's very smart, okay? And she's able to kind of, you know, sift through the BS and understand who's telling the truth, who's lying. She's very strategic in how she thinks and what she's trying to do. And so it's been really interesting watching Kristen, and I can't wait to see this character grow throughout the course of the series. And so we see the episode opens up. She's in a therapy session with Dr. Julian Rush, played by Theo Rossi. And basically he's kind of having her go through one of you know, I don't know if it's dreams that she's continuing to have. You know, we see that she's sleeping in her closet and she keeps waking up in these panics, like gasping for air. And so we see that she sees her brother Alberto, who has come to visit her in Arkham. And, you know, when he puts his hand up, that's when you see the pinky is missing. So you know that this is not real. This isn't happening. And then we see that Alberto is murdered before her eyes. She starts screaming, and then she kind of wakes up, and then she's kind of spiraling out of control in front of Dr. Julian. And then he has to literally grab control of her as she's fighting him. I was like, girl, you better stop fighting your damn therapist before they put you back in Arkham, girl. Stop. And then he's helping her calm down. But also too, was y'all watching it like, hold on, Dr. Julian, like, I mean, you fine and all, but you kind of doing a lot as her therapist. You had to calm her down like that. Like, they was all close, and then they had that moment where they looked each other in the eye. I said, like, what? Do y'all have a backstory that I just don't know about? Or am I only getting this vibe because they both fine, and that's why, like, you know, I took it there? I don't think I took it there incorrectly. Like, I feel like something's going on between them. I don't know if they were going to become lovers, but there's an interesting exchange, you know, because Dr. Julian is saying, like, hey, you're safe. Like, I'm here to help you. And then she was like, I'm not safe. Like, I'm home. Where she's basically like, ain't nothing safe around here. You know who my family is. Like, they'll get rid of me too. They don't even care that they killed my brother. That people killed my brother. So I find that interaction when she makes that comment, like, I'm not safe, I'm home, you know, that's very, you know, telling of how she feels about her relationship with her family, how she feels about the state of the family business, and, you know, and the fact that she is low-key fearing for her life because she lost her brother and no one seems to care but her, you know, about giving justice, and kind of this eye for an eye. She wants to take down Sal's family, as he agrees with Oz to kind of take the hit, even though he's upset that Oz forced his hand into doing this. But because Oz promised the drop so they can kind of take the product away from the Falcones, he says, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Now Nadia, her talking about he a dog and I don't like dogs, but even dogs can be submissive. I was just like, I mean, okay girl, like, dang. I was just like, wow, that was like very petty of you. Thank goodness that he didn't understand what you were saying, but I was like, dragged him for filth, all right? But I do want to go back to Sofia because we noticed these cuts on her neck. And I didn't know if they were self-inflicted. Is it something that happened to her in Arkham? I'm not sure. I'm sure as the series goes on, we'll kind of understand what is happening between all of that. But we see that Sofia is determined to get answers about Alberto's death. And even if her uncle Luca and his right-hand man Johnny, if they don't care about figuring out like what happened, what is going on, she's gonna be the one to get to the bottom of it. But in order to do that, she wants to get to the bottom of who was behind the drops, okay? Who was behind having Sal's men basically take out some of their men and also to take their drugs. So we know that Oz gets into this agreement with Sal and his family as he goes to the jail to visit him, and an entire family is there. And so basically they come up with this agreement that they're going to work together. He's going to plan for them to rob the Falcone stash as they're making this drop, okay? So things seem to be going okay as planned until Johnny tells Oz, hey, you need to actually ride in the truck that actually has the drugs. And he was like, nah, bro, I'm finna go over here in this other truck that ain't got the drugs. And then he was like, no, you need to protect the stuff. And he was just like, bro, like, what you doing? Okay, we had like a whole plan and you want to come in last minute and change things up, and I just don't understand. So Oz is on edge, I'm on edge. We trying to figure out how is he gonna get out of this scenario, because he knows that the truck that he's in is supposed to come under fire. And so he kind of makes this joke to distract the men as he holds on, and they hit him. They kind of get into the shootout. He ends up taking the gun and he ends up shooting the driver and shooting the other two men. Now the driver ends up popping back up and he has a gun as one of Sal's men comes on, and they end up shooting Sal. And so now Oz has to improvise. So everyone's in the middle of the shootout, and so in order not to blow his cover as Oz gets out of the car, he has to end up shooting one of Sal's men in order to prove to Sofia's little henchman, I think his name is Castillo, to prove to him that, hey, like, I'm still clean, I ain't got nothing to do with this. And so this is how he's still trying to like stop from like having his spot be blown up. So they get into an argument, especially between Johnny and Sal, Johnny and Oz, because he's just like, bruh, you had us do all these last minute changes and then you see what happened. So now they're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Sofia comes into the mix and she was just like, why y'all sitting up here trying to like fight about this? Who finna avenge my brother's death, okay? Because the math isn't mathing for why you guys aren't as upset as I am upset, okay? So Luca kind of chimes in like, hey girl, know your role, slow your roll, back up a little bit, okay? I'm gonna make sure that we do what we need to do, but right now is not the time nor the place. We gotta figure all of this other stuff up. So Sofia has been very adamant that there is an inside man, okay? There's no way that they would have been able to figure out what the drop was, like what their route was going to be, without someone from their family being the person who was giving this information away. Now Luca thinks that she's just being extra, that, you know, she's dealing with her grief in the wrong way for Alberto. She's trying to like insert herself into the family business in order to distract herself from the fact that her brother's gone. So she is determined to figure out what is going on, even after her uncle asked her to stay, to really remind her like, hey girl, I know you're grieving, but you need to know your place, okay? And your place is not making decisions in the family business because I'm the boss and you're not, okay? So you do what I tell you to do, and you mind your business. So when she comes out of the room after she has this, you know, meeting where her uncle puts her in his place, basically Oz tries to like butter her up a little bit. Like, I think you should be running things, and don't nobody care about Alberto. I loved him. And I was just like, this dude don't do nothing but lie. Okay, but lie. I love that Sofia's kind of looking at him like, you think this is supposed to be working? It's not working. Okay. She was just like, okay, you need to quiet down, because you know my uncle is in the other room. You see, I just got yelled at, and you up here talking some treason and stuff, and you trying to get me in the middle of some stuff that I don't want nothing to do with, okay? So get out of my face, all right? So he kind of gives up on that and just figure out, okay, I'm gonna find another way to get in with her. But we do see that, Oz has this conversation with Eve. And so Eve's a little weird. She comes over, she brings the girls over, and, you know, she tells them, like, you're the one who killed Alberto. And that's why you needed the alibi for me in order to absolve yourself. But now you're putting me and my girls in danger. You're going to have Sofia knocking on my dang on door. And that's not something that I want, nor that I deserve. But he eases her fears, and he says, like, I'm going to take care of this. And then she was like, you are not above the law. Like, just because you feel like you have this master plan, it doesn't mean that you're still not in danger at the same time. And so he tries to, like, ease her fears, just lets her know that everything's going to be okay. But then he gets a phone call about his mother. And so his mother, she has dementia. You know, the landlord found her wandering across the street, and, you know, he basically tells Oz, like, hey, you need to give her professional care. She cannot stay here by herself. Like, it's not okay for her to be here by herself. And then basically he just gives her some money, gives the landlord money, like, hey, can you watch over her? And I was just like, Oz, I don't think that's how that's supposed to work, son. I don't think that's how that's supposed to work. But, you know, do whatever you feel like you need to do. But I guess it buys him a little bit more time. He's really just trying to avoid the inevitable about him having to realize that he has to do something about his mother. So there's kind of this interesting exchange between him and his mom, where she kind of tells him, like, you know, you really ain't about nothing. You ain't doing nothing. So if you ain't doing nothing, what does that say about me as a mother? You know? And so we see that they're kind of like dancing together, which is another nod towards the end of the episode. You know, he has this conversation with Sofia at the funeral that he lied and said he was at, and she was like, no, ho, you was late. I saw. And he talks about how his mom is dead, which she obviously is not, but I'm assuming he was doing that to kind of protect her. But also too about how, you know, his brothers, you know, died, and how he danced with his mom and they eventually got over it. And, you know, that's why at the end when she says, do you want to go into business with me and kind of like take this stuff back? And he says, let's dance. It's a nice little nod to that. But we see that Oz is kind of in a pickle, okay? So after he kind of gets his mom situated, Victor tells him, like, hey, you know, it's late. We need to go to the funeral. And this is when he has the conversation with Sofia. But he sees that, you know, Castillo basically takes Sofia away. And he overhears him saying, hey, the detective that she went to, which was a detective that used to work for her father, you know, she asked him to get information in regards to who is responsible for like getting this information from the route. So he tells her that the detective said that he has something, and this kind of puts Oz on edge. So we find out that the thing that the detective actually has is he actually took Irvit, who is one of Sal's men. He took Irvit, who was shot but was actually alive, but just drugged up on a lot of morphine. And so he takes him, and they're going to question him in order to figure out who the mole is in the Falcone family. So while he is still under drugs, basically she tells Castillo, like, hey, take him downstairs. Like, I don't know why y'all got him at this dang on. It's supposed to be my brother's like repast. What are y'all doing? This is not the time nor the place. But she said, take them in the basement. I'll deal with this a little bit later. So Sofia's kind of going through it at the repast. Everybody's whispering about her, saying she's spiraling. Then she started eating all the food all crazy. Now it's just like, now Sofia, girl, you already not beating the allegations. Then you gonna start eating this food too? All like, what? You got her cousin Carla looking at her crazy. She don't even want her to touch her daughter. I was just like, why did you even go engage your cousin if you still don't feel like your daughter could be around her? I just felt like that was very disrespectful. And I just felt like you should have just maintained your distance. I just didn't understand why she did that. But in the midst of all of this, Oz is trying to come up with a plan on how he can blame Johnny, you know, for being this mole. You know, Oz is in a lot of trouble because Nadia and the rest of Sal's family, they basically tell him to come meet with them. And they're just like, hey, you need to go get her vibe back, because if you don't, he probably gonna snitch on you too. So it's mutually beneficial for you to go get him back. Now, this is when before they tried to kill him before, but then he kind of gave him the photos of Johnny as leverage, because Johnny out here smashing Luca's wife. So that still was enough. She's like, no, you need to go get our man. Bring him back, okay? Or we really gonna kill you, all right? So he enlists Victor, which Victor has his own whole other thing going on. Victor, he was walking down the street and he sees this poster. He kind of looks like missing person posters. I'm not sure where it's coming from, because when I paused it, I couldn't see a picture of him. So I wanted to know what made him do the double take. And then he gets a text from like Graciela asking, where are you? Are you okay? And so he just really going through it, okay? I didn't know that my man out here stuttering. You know, I got him one of the little girls. She started asking him questions, and then he started stuttering because he didn't want to talk about his past. So I'm trying to figure out what happened at Crown Point, or where are you actually from? What is going on? I don't know yet, but I guess we're gonna find out. But Oz kind of pulls him into some mess where he basically takes him with him, you know, to the repast, because he's trying to get to Irvine so he can save him. But he has a plan first. He wants Victor to take the jewels and put it in Johnny's car so they can make it seem like Johnny is the mole. And then he goes and finds Irva and tells him, while he still clearly is under the influence of this morphine, he tells him, hey, I need you to do the question. I can't save you yet. I need you to do the question and basically tell them that it was Johnny who was the mole. So he kind of kill two birds in one stone. He gets rid of Luca's right-hand man. This kind of moves him up the ranks a little bit faster. So things are going just as planned. He kind of snitches on Sofia, and he tells Luca's men that Sofia has the body downstairs. And so then of course Luca gets upset because he's like, I told you to stay out of this. Now he's trying to go downstairs and go get the body. But when Victor tells Oz that he wasn't able to put the jewelry in the car because he got caught, my man was running so fast. I was like, sir, you need to be on a track team, because the way that he ran up out of there, he was running for his life. I was dying. Okay, they got my man Victor really stressed out. Okay, so he tells him that he couldn't do it, so Sal has to quickly improvise, and instead he kills Irva because he was like, hey man, it's me or you, okay? And right now it's gonna be you, not me, okay? Because I'm here, I'm trying to survive. So he ends up killing Irva before Sofia and Luca could get to them. And so Luca now believes Sofia that there is a mole somewhere in the Falcone family, and he was like, I've had enough. Round everybody up who was a part of the transport that night, put them in a room, and we're gonna figure out who the heck is the mole right here, right now, because I'm sick of dealing with this, okay? So he sees Johnny, and I think that he's gonna plant the knife in Johnny. He ends up picking a fight with him, but he isn't able to get the knife into his pocket, so he ends up putting it in Sofia's guy Castillo's pocket, okay? So he ends up taking the rap for it. Luca kills him. And I was like, dang, like he can't catch a case. He can't stay alive to save his life in the show, okay? He was already killed as Lorenzo. Now he dead as Castillo. I was like, baby, we got to get you on a show where you last for the whole season, honey, all right? But, so this causes issues. And it was funny because as Johnny tells him that he needs to clean up the bodies, he's sitting up here talking about, now I gotta clean up these bodies because you weren't doing what you supposed to be doing. He going off on Victor. And I said, why you mad about cleaning up the bodies, Oz? Because you're not even doing it, Victor doing it, okay? Then he tells Victor, lay on top of the bodies, okay? You see what you not doing what you were supposed to be doing. You see what happened to them? That could happen to you. You see how I had to improvise? I was very mindful, okay? I didn't get too out of sorts when I realized the plan wasn't working. I went ahead and I went on to plan B, all right? I saved my behind. You need to learn how to save your behind, okay? Because it's kill or be killed. And right now, you probably gonna be killed the way that you be messing up, all right? So the next time you choke, remember these two bodies, honey. So then he helps Victor get out of the little grave that he was digging, and he ends up getting a phone call from Sofia where they basically have this conversation because she has a conversation with her Uncle Luca, and he tells her that she should probably get out of Gotham. And she's like, okay. And then this is when she makes a decision that no longer is she going to feel unsafe. No longer is she going to let her family, you know, underestimate her. She's going to take back what's hers, and she's going to fulfill this dream that her and her brother had of basically taking over the family business, getting this new drug on the market, and basically cutting everybody else out of the Falcone family business. And that's when they basically say, let's dance. They finna do it. And there's like, now there's like a blossoming partnership between Sofia and Oz. So I'm really interested to see, you know, where this is going to lead us, you know, because Oz is still playing both sides, right? He's still trying to work with Sofia. He's still trying to find a way to get Johnny out so he can kind of move up the ranks. But also too, now he still has Sal's family, which is kind of being led by Nadia, his wife. And so I don't know how he's going to make it through this predicament. But if it's one thing that I know, that Sal is always going to go with the flow. He's always going to lie to get his way to the top. But overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I think I more so enjoy kind of like the strategy behind this, like how is Sal gonna find a way to weasel his way to the top. I think that's what I find most interesting about the series. But overall, I really enjoy episode 2. I can't wait to see what happens in next week's episode. But yeah, those are my thoughts about Penguin Season 1, Episode 2, Inside Man. As always, my name is Sharona from Pay Your Weights, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit the notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again, bye.